Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. We got a guest today, everybody. We got Mad Mike from Atlanta Falcons Nation. What do you got to say, Mike? Tell the people, first off, we're glad to have you here. And in case anybody was under a rock, the Atlanta Falcons did lose yesterday, and sad to say, in my eyes, Atlanta Falcon fashion. And I'll just lead with that.
Tell them why you're mad, son. Tell them why you're mad.
I was at loss for words yesterday after my post game. I'm just going to say this. I'm really angry with Calvin Ridley. I expect so much more than what I saw. That effort, if you want to call it an effort, that was the worst performance that I've ever seen from a guy that talented. And that's as nice as I can possibly put it. The way that I put it on my show, if you guys, can I speak freely?
Yeah, go ahead, speak freely.
Look, that dude played like an absolute coward. He's been playing like a coward for the last couple of games. Look, a guy with that much talent, Calvin Ridley can be easily the top wide receiver, at least the top 3 wide receivers in the game. But to see his effort, or the lack of effort, the lack of heart from a guy that you want to pay $100 million, the Falcons want to pay him $100 million.
Yeah.
But when you play like a coward, how can you do that? How can you pay when a guy is running backwards?
Yeah.
What are we doing, Calvin? What are we doing?
William, he fits right in with us, huh?
Yeah. So look, he took the words right out my mouth. I was going to skip right to it now since he asked you that. Terrence, what kind of advice can you give Calvin Ridley?
Well, let me. I told you guys I was going to teach when we came on. Here's the thing: when you are a number 2 receiver, there's certain routes that you run. You run more complementary routes to the number 1 guy. So you're more in the slot, catching balls across the middle against a 5th DB or a safety or a linebacker. And now when you're the number 1 receiver, that means when that ball is snapped, that's who the quarterback is looking at first. Now your routes change. Now things change. Now it's spotlight on you. And usually you're the second, you used to be in the 2nd or 3rd read in the offense, not the 1st read. So by the time they get to you, you sit in the zone somewhere, there's nobody around you. But now that you're the number 1 read, you got bodies around you and you're expecting to make plays. That's tough. I mean, Calvin's still a young guy. That's tough for a young guy who has never been in that position before at this level. Now, the drops there's no excuse for that. 1, I can get it. But 2, 3, 4, I don't understand it. Right now, I'm not seeing any separations in his routes. There's always someone around him when the ball is being thrown. Either the passing scheme is not sophisticated enough, or he's not getting open. He's not getting open. He's not creating separation. Now we're going to skip from him and go to the number 4th pick overall in the draft. He's playing like he's not interested. It's almost like he's going, I made it. I'm in the league. All right. And he's just going through the motions. I'm not seeing any explosiveness from his route running. I'm not seeing any confidence, him catching the ball. The one ball he caught behind him, I swear to you, it looked like he closed his eyes and he just stuck his arms out there. I swear. But you know what? I'm not going to be too hard on it because it's tough. The game speeds up. And you playing in between the numbers with all these big bodies and these guys flying around. One thing that I seen that I thought was coaching is the red zone play when Matt Ryan on 3rd down threw it over his head and he was going to the middle of the field. Whoever taught him how to run that route need to go to route running school, because the way that defense was set up, here's the teaching part of it. The way that defense was set up, they was playing two high safeties, okay? So they was playing cover two. So when they do that and you have a 3-by-1, the middle linebacker has the middle of the field and covers anybody that comes down the middle of the field. So the middle linebacker has to go to number 3. He's not lined up to number 3. So what Kyle Pitts did, instead of allowing the linebacker to come to him, he ran to the linebacker. So watch this. If I'm here and there's two safeties that's sitting out here and I'm sitting inside of one safety, I want to go attack this safety, bring this backer to me, make my move. He overruns me. I go to the middle of the field. This safety is there. That safety is there. This backer is here, and I'm there, and I'm wide open. He didn't do that. He ran to the middle backer who had the middle of the field and just went straight up field, where that's his responsibility. If he would have did this, this guy would have did that. And that's what, and I'm going, who taught him how to, remember, William, did I text you? I said that was a terrible route.
Yeah.
I said that was a terrible route. So here it is. We can talk about possibly the lack of talent that the Falcons have, or the lack of energy that they may have, or the lack of effort they may have. And we're talking about players. Coaches are responsible too here.
Definitely.
Now, at the end of the day, you can have a lot of talent in the world, but if you're not getting taught or being put in the right positions to be successful, it ain't all on the players. Just because they're making millions of dollars and in the NFL, they still like chess pieces. You got to put them in a place where you can conquer. And I don't think at certain points in the game, we don't do that. It's almost like we're just going to allow the athletes to take over. No, most athletes don't want to take over. That's only 1% wants to take over. That other 99% wants to be put in positions to be successful. And that's what we're not doing at a consistent basis with this organization and this Atlanta Falcons team.
Man, Mike, why do you think Cordero Patterson wasn't utilized in the fourth quarter? They changed. He was the hot hand. He's basically the star of this Falcons team right now. And he was non-existent. Mike Smith just went away from him. And Mike Smith said it was situational. It was situational while we went with Mike Davis. But
I don't buy that at all. Honestly, I don't buy that crap at all. I'm just going to be honest. I thought it was injury. I believe it was at the last, before the last drive. I saw him go down with the injury. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I did see him kind of, make a face while he was on the ground. I don't know if that's the truth, but if he was healthy, then he got a lot of explaining to do, because one thing that you always say, Terrence, he's been on the show plenty of times, Atlanta Falcons Nation, he said one thing that they did with the Atlanta Falcons under Dan Reeves is go with the hot hand. Yeah. You do not go away from the hot hand. And that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. He's just thinking too much as a play caller. I love his play designs. I love what he's calling, but he's going away from the hot hand. You got to ride the hot hand. And Calvin Ridley obviously isn't. So right now, you got to make sure that Cordero Patterson is that guy.
Well, here's a couple of things that happens in that situation. A coach feels that, one, okay, I can't keep going to the well too much because they know it's coming. So we're going to do something different. And two, you start to feel obligated to the other guys and saying, I need to get other guys involved also. At the end of the day, it's about winning football games. You win football games first, and then you apologize second. Now, if other guys in that locker room is having hurt feelings because I'm riding Cordell Patterson's tail to a win, guess what needs to happen? You need to step up then. I can do the same for you if you step up. I'm going to you. You're not making plays. You're not getting open. You're not giving me what I want. So, but this guy is, so I'm going to keep going to him until they find a way to stop it. And I think sometimes coaches think that they have an obligation to spread the ball around and get everybody involved to winning a football game, making sure the best players are getting the ball at that time in that game to help you win football games. And I see that. And for the first time, I seen Matt Ryan kind of frustrated. He was kind of, you know, this was Matt Ryan's coming out party with this new coaching staff and this new offense. And I told you, you're not going to see the big yards. You're not going to see a lot of passes, but you're going to see efficient Matt Ryan in this offense. And hopefully you're going to see more touchdowns. And he gave you 4 touchdowns yesterday. And he was efficient and effective, and you still lose a ball game. And the thing is that you can talk about here it is. And this morning I was all over social media listening to what everybody was saying, your conversations, Mike, with other people, this and that and this, and people blaming offense, people blaming the defense, people blaming the special teams, whatsoever. Here it is. It's 4 minutes or so left in the game, and you have the football. If you've been watching football this year, the team that usually in a close game, the team that usually have the ball last wins the football game. Mm-hmm. Am I correct? It's been that way all year. So you have the ball, what was it, about 65 yards from scoring. Mm-hmm. All you needed is 2 first downs, you win that football game. And people says, well, run the ball. Okay, I get that. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mike, William, here's the thing. Everybody know you're going to run the ball at that situation. Everybody know you're going to run the ball in the middle of the field, in the middle on that situation. Why not stretch it out? Buy some time. All right, you don't have no more room. Stick your foot in the ground and get upfield. Yeah. Get me 3 or 4. Okay. There it is. Now all right, we're going to give it this. We're going to give it 2nd and 7. All right, I'm in a shotgun and I'm spread out. I'm throwing a receiver screen, tight end screen, running back screen. Give me another 3 yards. All right, now we're sitting at 3rd and 4. Now, guess what the defense have to do? They got to bring everybody up. You run draw, you can run another screen, you throw it over top, whatever you want to do. But here's what you do on that situation right here. You have a 3-by-1 look on one side. You roll Matt Ryan out to the right side. Buying time. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Now you got the outside guy running a comeback. He never runs an out. He runs a comeback. So when he catches the ball, he just falls to the ground. Number 2 runs a little curl route so he won't get up under number 1. Mm-hmm. And number 3 runs to the sideline just to be the last guy. When he catches the ball, he falls. If none of that happens, none of those people are open, Matt Ryan keeps the ball in his hand, buys time, fall to the ground. Now, instead of giving the ball back with 3 minutes or so left in the game, you're giving it back to him probably at the 2-minute warning. Now it's sense of urgency for the other team. And that's not what we did. We didn't do that. Now, at the end of the day, look, we got to be able to run our 4-minute offense and run the timeout because, you know, there's no guarantees in the NFL today. You know, every team got some explosive players. The play that happened with Kissick, Deion Jones got to make that tackle. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to make that tackle, man. But look, the guy that he went to tackle was a professional too, and he get paid too.
And this is the thing.
So it is what it is.
I don't want us to or people to think we're just beating up on the offense because the defense definitely deserves some of the blame. They're letting up 32 points a game, regardless. I mean, I get it with Dean Pease and his resume, but as Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately?
Right.
And right now, they look like the same defensive Falcons that they have been. I mean, we had so many misplays, so many interceptions that were dropped, missed tackles, like you said. The special teams didn't look good. That was a killer right out of the half. Took it right to the house.
Yeah. Yeah. You take that, you take that kickoff return off the board, the Falcons win. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Here's the thing that we say in the NFL all the time. You can play 125 plays in a game. Only 3 or 4 is going to determine the football game.
Mhm.
It's amazing how it happens. If you look at this football game, you can look at 3 or 4 plays that if you take those plays away on either side, they win. They win. Now, with all that being said, we talked about the offensive, defense, special teams, whatsoever, coaching, players, whatsoever. We talked about all that. The refs was awful
Horrible.
this game for
Absolutely
both teams. They were awful. It was one of the worst officiated games I've seen in a long, long time. It was awful. Now, I get it. I get it. That was not a roughing call on Matt Ryan. He was reaching for the ball. And he happened to hit him in the chest. Matt Ryan was turning his head because he thought he was getting hit in the head, and that's what happened.
That's a Tom Brady call.
You know, it's a Tom Brady call. Matt Ryan complained about it, and Arthur Smith complained about it. Then they threw the flag, and then they called the penalty, and then the pass interference they didn't call. That was the makeup call for the roughing. You know that's what that was, right? That was the makeup call. We got that. We're gonna give it back to them because we're gonna make that one up. Yeah, people don't realize referees are human. They know when they make mistakes and they got to rectify it and fix it by giving you a call. Look, I've been on the sidelines as a head coach, and I walked up and down the sidelines with a guy and said, I can't believe you're not giving me this pass interference call. They're holding. So finally he calls one, and it wasn't pass interference. It was the call. I had to make it up because he's been getting calls against him. So that's my other thing. And then I want y'all to answer this or respond to this. I'm watching this game on television. We don't have a full crowd. They scored, the Washington football team scores a touchdown. And I told my wife, I said, are we in Washington or Atlanta? It was amazing to me, the crowd that was there supporting the Washington football team.
Well,
and then fans, you get upset because of the fact that your football team is not winning, we're not doing the things necessary. They complain, but they don't show up.
They don't show up.
And then you complain that other teams have more fans than we do.
Yeah.
Well,
one thing, Terrence, you did say
we're not there.
It's a transplant city, though, so we got to give.
We've been saying that. Just thank God we don't play the Cowboys here, do we?
Yes, but it's in Dallas. But
it's in Dallas. Yeah. Okay, good.
I will say though, yes, being in there yesterday, one of the penalty with Chase Young kind of hit. I think it's maybe the same one where he hit.
Yeah.
I heard people when they called it, they were like roughing the passer because what happened, Matt threw interception. So everybody's like, oh my goodness. When they call personal foul, of course we get the ball back, but the people were booing. I'm like, why are they booing? And I look, I'm like, oh, it's Washington. No wonder there's so many Washington fans.
So many, yeah. I heard that on the television. I was like, good gracious, those boos are loud.
Yeah, those are Falcons fans. Those are Falcons fans that were selling their tickets to Washington. This is something I know because I have a group over 20,000 people, and I just totally forgot how many people that I actually declined for trying to sell tickets in my group. So these are Atlanta Falcons fans that are selling their tickets.
Wow.
Even with that, why? And this is where I have an issue. At some point, you have to point the finger at the player. Coaches they're human also. They're not going to get everything right. But players, you got to step up. Deion Jones has to make that tackle. Foye Oluokun, a pass interference. Great Jerry jumping outside. Dante Fowler jumping outside. You have, I don't know how many penalties at this point that Fabian Moreau has to go.
Mhm.
I don't know how many. Every
Mhm.
time I turn around, it's a penalty on him. So
Mhm.
why is he out here? If there's going to be accountability, he has to be the first one to go because
Mhm.
he's costing the team yards.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Grady is doing his thing. Yes, Dante Fowler is getting consistent pressure. He has to finish those sacks. But
Mhm.
if you're going to preach accountability, Fabian Moreau can't be on the field. And I
Right.
know there's somebody, I know that maybe you could look at Sheffield. Maybe you could think about putting Oliver on the outside again whenever he's healthy. But Fabian Moreau, for me, I
Mhm.
cannot continue to put him out there if he's going to continue to get penalty after penalty.
Mhm.
It's costing the Falcons a lot. It reminds me of Robert Alford. Robert Alford had all the talent in the world, but
Mhm.
for whatever reason, so many penalties. So I know that Dean Pease is a great coach. His resume says that,
Mhm.
but as a coach, your job is to put them in a position to succeed. It's up for
Mhm.
you as a player to make the plays. If you
Right.
don't make the plays, that's not on that for me. That's not on Dean Pease. Dean Pease
Right.
didn't drop 4 or
Mhm.
5. I count at least 5 interceptions they dropped
Right.
at least, at the very least. So
Drop 2 on his own.
I can't put this on Smith. I can't put this on Dean Pease. This
Well,
game for me is on the players. You
well,
have to make the plays.
here's one thing that happens with players is this is believe it or not, you talk about there's bandwagon fans, there's bandwagon players too. They only play well when things are good. When things get tight and there's a sense of urgency and you got to make a play and the game is tight, whatever, you shy away and you do things that just uncharacteristic of who you are as a football player. It just is what we call panic mode. They go into panic mode. But if things are going well, we're getting sacks, there's big plays being made, you tend to rise to that ability and to that level in a football game. But something happens when things start to happen and it starts to go south a little bit. No plays are being made, penalties, drop balls, drop interceptions, turnovers, this and that. All these things start to happen. It's almost like a snowball effect. And because of that, Mike William, you've heard me say this plenty of times before. If you don't have that dog in your meeting room,
Mhm.
he ain't gonna go out and play and bite hard. So when that dog goes out, your lead dog that you appointed and anointed your lead dog goes out and plays like he plays, it makes everybody else feel it's okay to play like that. So now when you sit in the meeting room today on a Monday, you're sitting in the meeting room and now the backup or the third guy's getting yelled at, you're looking and going, wait a minute, what about him?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happens now? If you're doing that to the second and third guy and the first guy is doing the exact same thing, guess what 2 and 3 gonna do? Oh, he better than us? Oh, he ain't part of us? Oh, he's coach's favorite. So now there's dissension in that locker room and dissension in that meeting room. So if you can't get on your number one guys, like you get on your number 2 and number 3 guys, you're gonna have a problem. I don't care if it's Matt Ryan, Grady Jarrett, Calvin Ridley. I don't care who it is, Deion Jones. You got to be able to rip them like you ripped the other guys.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, you done lost your football team.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you telling the other guys, you don't
It's
matter.
okay to drop passes. It's
You don't
okay to
matter.
get sacks.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the Falcons, I would say it gets much easier, but who can really tell, right? Uh, they're headed to London this week to take on Terrence's other former team, the New York.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Falcons have played them 12 times. They do lead that series 7-5, and Terrence actually played in 3 of those games. And the first one, he was a Jet.
Yes.
Yeah, he played for the enemy, but they did lose to the Atlanta Falcons. And I saw that another one though, the Falcons did lose in 1998. It was only one of 2 losses they had all year.
Yes.
That was to the Jets.
Yes.
You know what the score was, guys? 28-3. Ain't that cool?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it was I think Chandler got knocked out of that game and whatsoever. It was one of those games. But here was the sad thing. It was the sad thing about that game. We didn't compete. We were flat that game. I don't know why we were flat that game. And here's what turned it all around. That was the pivotal game of our season because we came into the locker room, everybody's head was down, and Chuck Smith stood up and said, "Hey man, that's only 2 losses. Season not over with. It ain't over with." And then I remember this. What at the time, what we were 5-2 after that game.
Correct. Yeah.
And I remember this. Eugene Robinson said, "Hey man, we just lost only 2 rounds. We've been in 7 rounds. We got 5. He said we got 9 more rounds to go, and we're gonna win all 9 of them." I said, "This is a heavyweight fight. It ain't over yet." And then, dude, it just from there we went crazy. We didn't lose again into the Super Bowl, of course, but that was a pivotal game for us that year in '98. Now this year's team, this is a pivotal game for them because you're playing a rookie, you're playing in a neutral site. Here's a chance to to right the ship. I am totally shocked that we're not 2-2 right now, because I really thought being 2-2 after going into October gives you a chance to be there at the end of the year. There's a lot of ground to be made up from here. I thought we would get the next 3 or 4 in a row.
Right.
Now, now you got to take it month by month. You got to win the month of October. And you can't win it with a 2-2 record. You got to go 3-1 in the month of October. That's going to be tough. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be done. You know what? Falcons will beat the Jets. And I'm not saying if they do this and if they do that. They're just a better team than the New York Jets. They're just a better team. And this is a game they're supposed to win and should win. Point blank. There's no ifs about it. I'm not going to say if they do this, if they do that.
That's the coach's change.
You just go play and line up and do your assignments. You're going to win this football game.
Yeah. That's the culture change. That's key. That right there is everything. We talk about changing the culture. I don't care about accountability. I don't care about anything at all. I want you to beat teams that you're supposed to beat. That is what football is about. The Falcons have been one of these teams. We call it the get right team. We call it the get right team. Whoever, if you are the Jets, you're the Jaguars, it doesn't matter. The Seahawks, the 49ers, come to Atlanta and get right. The Falcons have to set that tone. They have to set that tone that we will no longer lose games that we should win. And this is why Falcon fans continue to jump off. It's not because we lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not because we lose to the Saints. We lose to teams that we should never have lost. Okay, let's just go down memory lane. To the Carolina Panthers last year. No disrespect to the Carolina Panthers. There's no way in the bloody hell we should have lost to Carolina last year.
Detroit
Lions was a much better team.
Yeah, that Lions.
Yeah, Detroit Lions.
That's the reason why Falcons fans are frustrated.
Right.
We lose to teams we should not lose to. And from a coaching standpoint, you can't pretend to be a tough guy, like you said, Terrence, last week. You can't pretend to be a tough guy and then lose to the Washington Redskins. This is why fans are coming at me for saying this about Dean Pease. This is why they're coming at Arthur Smith. You look like a fake tough guy. You just lost to the Washington football team. That right there.
Mike, we don't have much time left, but I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this question, and I want you to answer the best way you can. Do you think Arthur Smith will be here and be the coach of the Atlanta Falcons in the next 3 years?
You're trying to read my mind, Terrence.
I do. I do, because I do, but I can't say the same thing about Dean Pease. I do believe that he will. I do believe he will, but I don't know if he is. Like at this point in time, the Falcons need a guy that's going to establish that run first culture, and I think he's the guy that's going to, because we can't go back to that prissy throw the ball 50 times without a running game. Like that can't happen. You need to establish a run and a tough culture, and I think that's what
I'm gonna put it. Let me put it another way, William.
Oh, okay.
Let me put it another way. Do you think he'd be better served as our offensive coordinator or our head football coach?
right now, the head coach.
So my question for both of you guys is about Arthur Smith. What point do you start to ask that question? I know it's going to ruffle feathers, but what point do you start to ask the question, is the seat hot? I mean, do you continue to be like, all right, we got to give him a year. He's got old players from the old regime. All right, we give him 2 years because now he's got some of his guys. Let's give him at least, at what point do you say, okay, enough's enough? Okay. I mean, I get it. It's only 3 losses, but it's still a new regime. It's still new.
I'm gonna put it to you like this, William. They gave Steve Wilkes in Arizona 1 year, and they fired him. Mm-hmm. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna expound. I ain't gonna go no further. They gave Steve Wilkes 1 year, and they fired him.
You can't lose to the Jets. I'm sorry. If you're talking about changing culture, if you are the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, you can't lose to the Jets. You cannot. There's no excuses for losing to the Jets. Zach Wilson, he's a young guy. He's a young quarterback, but outside of that, they really don't have a lot of weapons with the Jets, and you can't lose to the Jets. I'm gonna lose all faith and hope in you until you show me that you can beat the Jets. You can't lose to the Jets.
Tell the people how they can find you, Mike. Tell the people how they can follow.
You can check me out. You can check me out at Mad Mike Sports, Atlanta Falcons Nation, but also on Twitter, Instagram, at Mad Mike Sports. Hey man, this is positive Atlanta Falcons content. We're here to tell you nothing but the truth, the facts, the stats, and the truth. All right, you come with that trolling, you come with that nonsense. This is not the platform for you. We're here for real Falcons fans. So all that trolling and all that, I'm gonna blame this person and blame that person. We don't do that over here. You're either a Falcons fan or you get kicked out. Simple as that.
All right.
Love it. Love it.
Terrence, what you got for us?
Well, oh man, I have a lot, but I'm gonna leave you with this. Because you gave me this right now. It came to me, Mike, right now when you're talking about the trolling and all this stuff, the negativity whatsoever, this and that. Love your neighbor as you want to be loved. So before you speak ill about somebody else, think about that person speaking ill about you. When we speak on this show and we talk about, we're not, here's the best way to put it. We're not talking about people. We're talking about problems that's stopping this team from being the best that they can be. That's a difference. Mm-hmm. That's a difference. I want people to understand that. We're not pointing fingers and talking about people. We're talking about problems, which people are in those problems and create those problems, but we're talking about problems that's stopping this Atlanta Falcons team to being the best they can be. Now, the reason I say that is this. Look at yourself in the mirror. Mm-hmm. What's the problem or the situation that's stopping you from being the best that you can be? What is it? You need to get rid of it, and get rid of it now. Greatness is only a small portion of people that are great, but there's a big portion of people that are good. I want to be with that one right there. There you go.
All right, T, way to end it. As Mad Mike say, beat the Jets. Beat the Jets.
Mad Mike, thank you, brother.
Hey, we appreciate that.
Yeah, man, that was good stuff. That was good
Hey,
stuff.
man.